Last year, when we kicked off TADS just under a year ago, the focus was, does it make sense to try and create an ecosystem around telecom app development? And resounding answer was yes. From that then we said, let's do two things. Let's get a hackathon so we can focus on developers, creativity, and all the cool tools we got available. And that was TED Hack, and that was an amazing success. And then what we've done with TADSummit is really get it focused around business and go-to-market. Because service innovation now is fundamental to telcos' continuous existence as service providers. Voice, messaging are commoditizing. I'm sure you've heard from many of the telcos that you've talked to. They need to focus on delivering successful services. And we can only do that as an ecosystem. We can try individually, and we have for nearly 20 years and struggled beyond voice, SMS, and internet access. So service innovation is now front and center of most telcos' strategies. And what we're trying to do in an ecosystem basis is make it more successful, to make service success happen more often rather than it being a rare occurrence. No longer can we be an isolated island to be successful. Telcos, when they try to behave just individually, have struggled to be successful. It's when we work together. You'll have heard from, for example, Quayle from Axiata Group, our opening keynote. A point he made was, I don't consider the other operators in my country competitors. We need to work together. That for me was endorsement of taking an ecosystem-based approach. So as a result, to build an ecosystem, you need all elements. That's developers, that's the technology providers, that's the telcos, working together, working collaboratively in ways that enable them to be successful. If one is being successful over the others, then the others move away. It has to be jointly successful. So that's why we bring together all three constituents to share ideas, to share what they're doing in being successful. Because if they can help others be successful, it's rising tide basically raises all boats. So that's why sharing is so important. But it has been a struggle, I'll be honest with you, in getting, even though we've had amazing numbers, we've been packed, we've had to bring in additional chairs, people have been sitting on the stairs. It's been hard to get particularly telcos here because of the travel restrictions. So one of the things that we saw with TAD Hack, because it was a global event, it enabled vastly more people to get involved, to know about it. So what we're trying to do for next year with TADSummit is bring in an online component. So even though you can't travel, you can still do the speed networking from your desk. You can still see the live stream of the video and get involved in the Q&A in real time. So we very much want to bring the online component with the real physical meeting face to face. Hopefully if we can get that brought together, we can make it, rather than 200 people involved in TADSummit, we can get perhaps 400, 500 people to make it a real movement. TADSummit this year has been squarely focused on the business, creating business with innovative services and getting it successfully to market. So it's been very much a business bias. TAD Hack has been focused on creativity, on developers, on technology, and creating that separation. Although you saw, we have many common people. We had 3 of the winners from TAD Hack were involved in TADSummit. So having that sort of crossover is important, but it enables us to have a separation of concerns so we can have the focus on creativity, we can have the focus on business. We also have a third stream, which are TAD meetups. So what these are just informal gatherings. Now when I say informal gatherings, we had 100 people in the back of Muddy Murphy's bar in Singapore. It was a great event and it's informal. It's just that sharing, making people aware of just how cool it is to add communication capabilities to your apps, services or business models. You saw Cinch, basically a startup that's partnered with Voxbone, and within a few months of starting and really reaching the market, their services, their APIs are available to over 400 million customers. Amazing numbers, because communications is now getting embedded into so many apps. So again, the meetups are a very important way of making people aware of the capabilities of this trend in communications now being programmable, that you can embed everywhere. What we've done with TADSummit is you have the information distribution, so you can basically have the presentation slots. These are very traditional ways of communicating and sharing experiences, best practices. But we've also done a couple of other things. That's speed networking. That's getting people to basically physically meet, exchange business cards, understand each other, to basically do those physical introductions. And that proved to be quite successful. And then the other thing is really taking the idea of a summit back to what it used to be. Today, a summit is just back-to-back-to-back vendor presentations, which is boring. We didn't have that. We had vendor and customer. So it was keeping it real. So it made the presentations far different to most summits. But then it's boring to just listen to presentations all day. So what we did is we gave people a chance to then share insights, to share experiences in work streams. You can think of it as a form of group therapy. So you can consolidate everything you've learned and then share your frustrations, but also share some of the solutions you've learned. So that's why the work streams have been so important. And you've seen, when we get back and we're doing the work stream summaries, everybody's pumped. They're really excited about what they've learned, they've shared, and want to communicate the recommendations that came out of those work streams. In terms of overall numbers, we had around 216 registrations. Now, of course, people register and then other things happen. Have to do customer meetings, can't travel issues. So I think we ended up with roughly 185, 190. Of course, that was on day one where we were packed. And even on day two, in the morning, again, we were packed. People were sat on the stairs. That's very unusual for these type of events. And even at the closing panel, we were full. So I think that was a for me, I was very pleased that we basically maintained well over 150 throughout the event. Now, how that breaks down is very interesting. I would say last year, the numbers for TADSummit it was generally sort of 40% technology, 40% telco, and maybe only 20% developer. This time, it's 33, 33, 33. It has been great. Now, I was hoping to get a few more telco in, as I mentioned, but it still, I think, was a great balance, and there were some excellent discussions. So looking to the future, very much, it's to get the numbers up, because this is about building an ecosystem. That's all we care about. So enabling far more people to be involved. Because for me, a third split between telcos, between vendors, between developers, I felt was a nice mix for this more business-centric discussion. What I want to do is just get the numbers up. So basically help more people see the amazing announcements, the amazing presentations that were made. I mean, we had Axiata Group, a telco, saying they're open sourcing their core platform. That was an amazing announcement. We had Senid Mobile sharing how they're creating these templates to monetize WebRTC with dialogue. We had also, for example, Telestacks and Dialogic announcing a win with NTT. So we've had some amazing announcements that I think will, particularly in the Axiata announcement, have a fundamental impact on the industry.